To start the supportive factor session, can I request everyone to say sadhu 3 times, please?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. King Vadi samano kimakhaiti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends, in the Dhamma, we are meeting once again on a Tuesday, another mindfulness practice session that we usually have on Tuesdays from 6:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. In that session, after walking and sitting practice, we take a topic or we take a discourse of the Buddha and engage in understanding how that relates to our practice. So in the last few months, we have been discussing a very beautiful sutta, Attahita Parahita Sutta, where the Blessed One was explaining how one should help himself and thereby how he will be able to help others. So I'm not going to touch anything on that. Today, we concluded that discourse in the last session. Today, we are starting on another discourse. And this discourse is the particular verse I just recited, King Vadi Samano Kima Kayiti, was extracted from Madu Pindika Sutta. And it's a discourse that appears in the middle length discourses. In middle length discourses, they are categorizing the discourses into 50s, and there are about three such categories. And of that, in the first one, you get this particular sutta, and even the first one, the first 50 is also divided into many other categories, another 5 categories of 10 discourses each. So in that, the first one is Mula Pariyaya, and the second one is Sihanada. So this particular discourse, Madhu Pindika Sutta, is appearing in the Sihanada Vagga, that is Sihanada section. So Madhu Pindika means honey ball. So it's a discourse which is very sweet. So that is the meaning that the monks, the Arahants who compiled Tripitaka, the canon, has given. So the basis or how it started is basically when the Blessed One was living, this has happened. So Venerable Ananda, in assembling the canon, Venerable Ananda says, "Thus I have heard, or thus have I heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was living in the Sakyan country at Kapilavattu in Nigroda's Park." So this is something that we know. Most of the suttas start like that. And then he's saying, then when it was morning, the Blessed One dressed and taking his ball and outer robe, went into Kapilavattu for alms. So this is what those days the monks have been living. So in the morning, they just take their robe and the Blessed One, they are the possessions that wandering monks have. he has taken that and gone on alms round. When he had wandered for alms in Kapilavattu and had returned from his alms round, after his meal, he went to the great wood for the day's abiding. So there has been a park nearby. So after having food, he has gone there. And then entering the great wood, sat down at the root of Bilwa sapling for the day's abiding. Bilwa sapling in Sinhala translation, they say belly gaha, belly tree. It's a young belly tree. So when he was sitting there, there has been another person who has been walking in that path. It says Dandapani, the Sakyan, that's the clan. Dandapani is his name. While walking and wandering for exercise, also went to the great wood. He has gone to the great wood for exercise, as you guys are doing in Brisbane and in Australia, and sometimes even in Sri Lanka nowadays. They just go for evening walk, and some people go for walk during lunchtime. So this guy seems to have gone for walk in the afternoon for exercise. And when he had entered the great wood, he went to the Bilwa sapling where the Blessed One was and exchanged greetings with him. And that's a usual thing that anyone does. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he stood at one side, leaning on his stick, and asked the Blessed One. So this is a bit of a funny thing. So usually when you talk to Buddha, you pay respect, and after exchanging the courteous talk, you talk to him in a respectful manner. But this guy has not been that respectful. He has stood, he has started talking to the Blessed One standing. Usually, when you talk to the Blessed One himself has said, if you are sitting and if the person talking to you is standing, don't talk, don't preach him Dhamma. And even the other way around, don't preach him Dhamma. And the person has to sit. But here, this person has not done that. So he stood at one side and leaning on his stick. So he may have had some walking stick or something. So this is why he's called Dandapani. Danda means a stick. He's carrying a stick all the time. And his name may have been Pani, the one who's having the stick. So Dandapani, he has leaned on the stick and asked the Blessed One this question. So in a very irrespectful manner, he is asking the question, but still the Blessed One has answered it because it is his dispensation. Although he is teaching or he is telling others that not to do such things, it is his area. It is his realm. So what usually how we will have to understand that is, the king will be able to tell not to pick any fruit from my park because it is king's park. Nobody should take any fruit from the king's park. But that does not mean that the king can't go and pluck any fruit from there. So it's something like that. Although the Blessed One tells us not to preach Dhamma while standing, he can do it, and he has done it because he sees in and out of the three worlds. So the question he asked was, King Vadi Kimakkaiti Samano, which means, what does the recluse assert? What does he proclaim? So this is something that has been happening in India those days. Everyone was having some assertion. Everyone has proclaimed something. So this is why, in a funny way, in a very sarcastic manner, without respecting him. Dandapani is asking this question because everyone is having some assertion, everyone is having something to proclaim. So he is therefore does not respect any recluse. So he thinks Buddha is also someone like that. So even from him, what are you saying? That's how we ask. Now, what's up with you now? He was asking. So the reason for that is, as I said, there were a lot of people giving a lot of assertions, and I remember we discussed another discourse called Wanderer. I don't remember his name. Even that wanderer asked the same question from the Buddha. What argument, what assertion are you making? So therefore, it has been very popular thing in India those days. So during Buddha's time, contemporary to Buddha, there has been 6 major teachings. There have been so many, but there have been 6 major teachings. So these teachings have evolved because before Buddha's appearance, there have been the religion has been based on Rig Veda, and they have been worshipping natural forces such as wind, rain, sky, and thunder, and deities and things like that. I mean, they have been considering those things as deity, and they have been worshipping these natural forces. So these texts have been based on Vedas. They say there are 3 Vedas. That is what we call Triveda, possibly Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda. And based on these Vedas, they have been worshipping the natural forces. And then over time, they did not like this. And the society was divided because they were worshipping the natural forces. And the society also during that time having a very strict class system. And the priests were called Brahmana, and the ruling class was called Kshatriya. And warriors, warriors and the rulers and merchants and farmers, all of them were called Vaisya. And then lowest class was the Sudra, the slaves, and they were expected to serve all the upper classes. So because this was there, the people who were thinking outside the box, they did not like this division in the society. They did not like worshipping the forces and basing it on Vedas. So the new thinking evolved, and therefore they started challenging this thing. So the main challenges were from these 6 sectarian leaders, and they are Purna Kassapa, Makkali Gosala, Ajita Kesakambala, Pakuda Kachayana, Nigantanataputta, Sanjay Vellattiputta. And this has got nothing to do with the discourse we are discussing. But I just wanted to tell you why this person is asking this question. King Vadi Samano Kimak, because it shows asking that question, people are laughing at monks. People are laughing at who are wandering and practicing having ascetic life. So this is why people laugh at them is very important to know, so that we can understand the basis of the question and the severity of the blessed one's answer. So this is why I'm just going out of the way and trying to discuss a bit more into the things that were appearing those days. And Purna Kassapa was basically a naked ascetic, and we call them achelas. And he claimed to possess infinite knowledge. He says he's having the omniscient knowledge, and even during sleep, and had declared that the universe was finite. And because he knows everything, his assertion, what he proclaims, is that the universe is finite. There is a limit to the universe. And he also denied the existence of karma and declared that there is no effect of bad and good actions, may it be physical, verbal, or mental. His belief was that the soul was distinct from the body and did not participate in carrying out any actions. So he was dividing the existence, or dividing a living being into two. One is the body, and the other is the so-called soul, which we don't usually, we neither call body nor call soul, but they have identified, instead of worshipping the natural forces, they are now directing towards self, maybe in a wrong way, but in the right direction. That is what Buddha also did. But here they are dividing it into two, and they are saying the soul, so-called soul, they don't call it mind. But they call it soul, and it has got nothing to do with what the body does. So therefore, the good and bad actions of the body produce no consequences for it. So this is his teaching. He knows everything, and then he has the finite knowledge of the world, and there have been people following him. So he teaches in such a way that people are convinced. And he has been described for the same reason as the person who is having the theory of non-action. In other words, Akiriyavada, right? So there is no action, no good for good actions. There will not have good results. For bad actions, there will not have bad results. You live whatever way you want. It is non-causality, ahetukavado, because of akiryavado, because there is no action, there is no cause that results in something. So therefore, he is also called the person who has introduced ahetukavado. And the next person who has been contemporary Buddha, and the second one of this sectarian leaders, was Makali Gosal. And Makali Gosal was having a movement called Ajivika movement. The Ajivika movement, they were a community of wandering ascetics who evolved in opposition to the orthodox religious philosophy of Brahmanism and the caste system. So they have been the real rebels. They are taking the so-called fight. They are taking it bit more further, and they are saying they are just wandering and having asceticism, and then they directly oppose the orthodox religious philosophy and the caste system. And but their theory was they don't believe in the theory of karma or philosophy of free will. So this it is again similar to the previous person, Purna Kassapa. Makali Gosala is also not believing in karma. So therefore, there is no free will. They don't believe in that. And Makali Gosala, and he was having very strict ascetic life, a human being cannot easily practice. So that way, they believe the liberation is achievable. And he says he was a fatalist, declaring that a person's destiny determined by fate. So therefore, his vada, in other words, his assertion was the Niyativada. So in Niyativada, he says Samsara Visuddhi. Samsara Visuddhi means it depends on your destiny. There is nothing that you have got to do. It depends on your fate. So just keep living the normal way that you are living. And while living, just because of living, the living itself will liberate you. So therefore, all beings had to undergo experiencing a fixed number of good and bad births until they are completely purified and released from the cycle of existence. So cannot be changed by the performance of good or bad deeds. So this is his teaching. So therefore, he is considering this life as should not be lived in this particular manner, in a way that indulge in sensuality. We should practice in a way completely away from sensuality. That is why he teaches nakedness, austere life, and self-mortification. Sometimes we can't fathom these teachings because from the practice they are conflicting their own theory. And if they say it depends on the faith and it depends on sansara visuddhi, it depends on destiny, then why should you become a self-mortified person? Why do you live austere life? And one can ask, if the sansara is purifying yourself, and if you will have to undergo a given number of good and bad birth, so why should we live in a particular way? We just allow it to sansara to decide. But still, having said his theory, the way he lives is not matching with his theory. But however, another person who has introduced another assertion, another theory, is Ajita Kesa Kambala. And Ajita Kesa Kambala introduced Uchchedavada, which means it is advocating that there is no life after death. What he says is, up to this point, you will be having a life, and after death, it is just cut off. Uchcheda means cut. And after that, it is cut off. There is no existence, there is no life after that. So, object of the material world is made up by the combination of the four fundamental elements, which we call Mahabhuta, which even the Buddha accept. The Mahabhutas or elements: earth, water, fire, and air. So what he says is he denied the existence of an afterlife and claimed that when someone dies, the four elements will return to their external sources of earth, water, fire, and air. And the mental faculties will pass on to the space. So that is his theory. And he's going a bit more further from Makkali Gosala. Makkali Gosala was talking about the soul and the body, but he is going a bit further into the body, and he's going to the basic elements of the body. So this is sort of an evolution in a way. And also, he's not talking about soul; he's talking about the mental faculties. So now the earlier it was something called soul, which a situation where mind is having the power. But here he's not accepting that there is something so powerful in the mind, but he's saying there are mental faculties, and those mental faculties will pass on to space. So it's just getting mixed with the energy in the space. So this is the theory he is introducing and he has brought up. And no merit in performing any good actions or evil in performing any bad. So it's again, although he's coming in this way closer uh, or going bit further than the previous two teachers, he's also denying the existence of dependent origination, existence of karma pal. So he had very strict view, very strict wrong views, and there were 10 of them. We call them Dasa Vastuka Mittaditi. Those he had given 10 or 5 things because he's a very strong person who is not believing in karma. So those 10 points are, we call them Nati Dinnang, Nati Yittang, Nati Utang, Nati Sukadukkatanang, Kammanang, Palang Vipakang, Nati Mata, Nati Pita, Nati Okapatika Satta. Like that, there are 10 of them. But the English translations of them are, the first one is there is no merit in the alms giving. And the second one is there is no merit in the large offerings. There is no merit in small offering. Like, say, it's offerings of flowers, offerings of incense, whether it is large or small, there is no point. There is no results of good or bad karma. There is no special person called mother, Nati Mata. There is no special person called father, Nati Pita. There is no this world, Nati Ayang Loke. There is no other world, Nati, I don't remember the other one. He doesn't believe that there is this world, there is another world. There is no instances of natural birthing animals, Opapatika animal, births. And the last one is there are no ascetics who develop special powers through meditation and declare the presence of other worlds. So these are 10 arguments, 10 viewpoints, 10 strong wrong viewpoints that were introduced by Ajita Kesakambal. So he may have had a lot of followers, because if you follow these things, you can do whatever you like, because it is all 4 elements, and after the death, there is no another life. So you can live in whatever way possible. So therefore, he may have had a lot of followers. So the next person who was contemporary to Buddha was Pakuda Kachayana. And Pakuda Kachayana also said to be his, he has got this name, Kachayana was the family name. And Pakuda is his given name. And he advocated that the whole universe and its constituents are made from 7 eternal bodies. And those eternal bodies are, again, the 4 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and then pleasure, pain, and the soul. So he's again trying to talk about the matter and non-matter, trying to talk about the mind and the body, but again not getting there properly. He's going into, rather than saying the body, going into the constituents of the body, which are the 4 elements, and then he's taking some sections of the mind, which is the feelings, sukha, dukkha, or pleasure, pain is the feelings. And then after that, he has not been able to go any further in the physical and mental processes. So therefore, again, when you look at this, this is again another step forward. The earlier person was talking about the elements and the mental faculties. But now this person, elements and the mental faculties, he is dividing into two, the feelings and the soul. And the feelings also he is very clearly identifying sukha, dukkha. And then he is putting everything in seven eternal bodies. And what he says is, these are again not conditioned, not depend. It's not based on dependent origination. They are eternal bodies. So none of them wants to accept that karma exists. So after him, the next person was Nigantanatha Putta. Nigantanatha Putta is from Jainism, and it is one of the oldest religion, it seems, that has been in the world. And Nigantanatha Putta was its leader during the time of the Buddha. Although he is the leader during the time of the Buddha, there have been he has been the 24th one, and there have been 23 leaders before that, and every leader has slightly changed Jainism, and it has evolved over time. And Nigantanatha Putta is also called Varadhamma, or the Lord Mahavira. They are also the names given to Nigantanatha Putta, and he was called Niganta as he claimed to be free from all bonds. He is not bound by anything, so therefore he is called Niganta. Natha is his name, Niganta, and Natha Putta means he is the son of Natha. So person who is free from all bonds, who is the son of Natha, is his name. So what did he teach? He believed in moral behavior and the good and bad effects of good and bad moral actions. So this is again another step forward. He's attributing the teaching to good and bad. He's attributing that we should have moral behavior, and therefore again another step forward. And these may be the things that Buddha looked into before he was born into the world, whether there are people walking in the right direction. So when you look at this, although we call them, 6 sectarian leaders, and they have been having all wrong view, but when you look at it over time, each teacher has renewed it, has given a fresh look, has gone into the depth of what other teachers have been telling. So when it comes to Nigantanatha Putta, he is bringing it to the way how people should behave, and he's giving, introducing a way for the people to live. If you live in a good way, you will have good results. If you have a bad behavior, you will have bad results. And it's a behavioral change that is introduced into the society, unlike the other teachers who says, I kill you with my sword, and the patavi is going through my sword patavi is going through your body patavi, and there is no good action, there is no bad action. It's patavi going through patavi. So such a behavior will very badly spoil the society. But this person, Nigantanatha Putta, is bringing some order to the behavior of the human beings. And in his teaching, he considered all actions, involuntary and voluntary, as karma. So this is again compared to Buddha. Karma for Buddha is when there is some involvement, when the mental volition is there, when the intention is there, then only the karma will happen. But here, there is no such distinction, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, whether you have done it intentionally or unintentionally, you won't be able to get away with it. So, although it's a way forward, it's slightly away from Buddha's teaching. So they considered bodily actions more severe than the verbal and mental actions. So this is again another distinction between the Buddha and Nigantanatha Putta. Although he's talking about karma, he's not going into the real depth of how dependent origination goes forward. So therefore, he is including every good and bad action, intentional or unintentional, as part of karma. And all the bodily actions are more severe and serious than the subtler states of the action. And he also introduced the practice, severe ascetic practice, including self-mortification. So his self-mortification is such that when you walk, you'll have to sweep the road and walk. So it's such a difficult practice. Otherwise, and also they are not eating things that are dug from the earth because it kills animals. So like that, there are some self-mortification behaviors that he has introduced. He advocated the observation of certain vows, such as non-violence and the truth and non-stealing, chastity and non-attachment for one's spiritual liberation. So now he's trying to show a path, although it is not as strict as the blessed ones. He's trying to show a path. He's saying you should be ahimsa vada, non-violence should be there. You should be satyavadi. You should always speak the truth and non-stealing. Asteya should not steal. Chastity is brahmacharya. You should not engage in sexual intercourse or having a relationship with opposite sex, and the non-attachment for one's liberation. So how you have non-attachment is not there. So in this manner, he had become the naked ascetic for the rest of his life, Nigantanatha Putta. So therefore, when you buy statues in India, we can't distinguish between Nigantanatha Putta's statue and Blessed One statues, because it appears that both have been lookalikes. Therefore, some people who goes from Sri Lanka, they pick up Nigantanatha Putta's statues instead of Buddha's statues. In Nigantanatha Putta's statues, you will not see a robe in his body, but they do the statue in such a way that nakedness is not shown, but they are not putting a robe as well. So therefore, it has got to be very careful, because one of my friends who came from India, and she was of course from Nepal, they gave us a nice Buddha's picture. But when you closely looked at it, there was no robe, but there was just a string. When he is sitting, and just a string on the body. So therefore, that shows that he has been a naked ascetic, as the first one, that Purna Kassapa that we discussed. because being naked in India, even today it is there. I remember during Corona, there were a lot of people who were touching the genitals of ascetics to cure Corona, and you may have seen that as well. So those practices are still there, and what they believe is if you can be naked and show the world that your senses are under control, that's a huge achievement for them. So that is why the naked asceticism is still popular in India. And the next person is Sanjay Vellatiputta. He was a skeptic. He was such a cunning person. He brings arguments for everything. He doesn't get caught up in anything. He doesn't say something is good. He doesn't say something is bad. For everything, he is having a way to escape. So therefore, he was also known as eel wriggler. He's like an eel. You can't catch him from anywhere. He just slips. And his vada, or his assertion is called Amaravikkepika, Amaravikkepa Vado, and did not take firm stance on any particular issue. So that is Sanjay Vellatiputta. So these are the 6 ascetics that were there during Buddha's time when he was preaching. So why I took these things was just to show that such teachings were there. And not only that, the Blessed One, those who have read, those who have seen the canon, the first book, which is the long discourses. The first discourse is talking about these vadas, these assertions, and how these assertions come to be. That is how the canon starts. Buddha, when the great arahants were compiling the canon, the first sutta that they have taken is Brahmajala Sutta, the net of Brahmas. So in the net of Brahmas, Blessed One is very nicely explaining how people who are very diligently practicing, they are very prompt in their practice, very ardent in their practice. But still, he says, they get caught up in assertions. And he's using 4 words for that. Atappamanvaya, Padanamanvaya, Appamadamanvaya, Anuyatamanvaya, Samma Manasikaramanvaya. Those are 5 words that the Blessed One, he himself uses to show how ardent one should practice. Now, he himself is saying, people who have practiced like that before him has got caught up in different types of views. And in the Brahmajala Sutta is explaining 62 such views. And is dividing them into 2 main sections. The 2 main sections are, when you practice meditation in this manner, there will have a possibility that you can see your past, or there will have a possibility that you will be able to have some understanding about the future. Based on these 2 main categories, he is giving 18 and 44 sections, how this assertions come to be. And he is giving 4 such assertions in saying the soul is eternal, soul is permanent. We call it sassatavado. And then there is another assertion which calls ekacha sassatavado, which means one part is eternal and the other part is not. And there is ananta anantavado, which means there is an end, there is no end. So like that, there are so many assertions that you will come out from your own practice, because you see the past, not only just the past life, not only past 2 lives, not only past 3 lives. The Blessed One has mentioned 40 eons. Some ascetics have seen 40 eons. Even today, there are some people, when people are practicing, sometimes you may have those type of visions coming. So in order to avoid getting caught up with those visions, the Blessed One introduced this technique of keeping the mindfulness to the fore. If you keep the mindfulness to the fore, although you are practicing so ardently, when you go to the deeper layers of the mind, you will not identify yourself with the deeper layer of the mind. You will not get caught up with the subtle defilements that the mind is having. If you lose, or if you don't know that the mindfulness should be kept to the fore, then you will get caught up with anything that the mind is giving. So that is what is happening. Although you practicing ardently is not enough. And also the Blessed One says, don't get caught up with the mind. Keep the mindfulness to the fore, having the body as your focal point. So a lot of people try to meditate on the mind. When you meditate on the mind, then you will get caught up with this all the nonsense. So all these 5 ascetics or the 6 ascetics, they are practicing, except for some non-causality and things like that. Then they don't say practice, but they are having an austere life. That's all. But that too is a sort of energization of themselves. So it's not only practicing is sufficient. You have to practice in the right way. The right way to practice is to keep the body as the focal point and have the mindfulness to the fore. So when the mind develops into such things as, having your psychic powers, you will not get caught up with them. You will not get into wrong views based on that. Because even when they're appearing, only thing you do is you simply observe. As soon as you lose the observation, you become part of it. And then you say, in last life, I was so and so, my name was this, and this is what I was doing, and this was my wife, I had so many children, this is my father, this is my son, and all that. And even today, if you give your birthday, there are people who are telling those things, and they are not wrong. They are not wrong, but that is not what Buddha wanted us to know. Buddha wanted us to stop, not just going backward. He wanted to stop going forward. And when you see backward, it should generate some urgency in you. This is what has happened to me in my existence. And it does not becomes deeply rooted into your system. Then it becomes a drushti. Then it becomes a view. And then it won't be easy to change it. So this is what happened to Asita. Ascetic Asita, when the Blessed One was a small child, the little prince, ascetic Asita smiled and cried. Smiled because he's definitely going to be Buddha. Ascetic Asita knew, and he had to cry because when he is preaching Dhamma to come out of the cycle of existence, this person can't come and listen to them. He knows that there is a Buddha that is going to be, but he can't, he is unable to come from where he would be. He's dead and gone. He can't come because he's so much engrossed with the achievement, mental achievement he has, and he's identifying himself so much, and he does not know a way to come out. And how he sees it is, he can see the future of other people. He can see his past. He can see his own future. So because of that, he had to cry. He knows that he is unable to come and listen. So therefore, Buddha came to this world to take us away from getting caught up in the net of the Brahmas. It is not the internet. At the moment we are caught up with the internet. That is rubbish compared to the net of the Brahmas. And that is, internet is the sensual net. And you don't require any qualification to get that internet. You need only data. But to get to Brahmanet, you will have to go a long, long way. But after going long way, also you will get caught up in this net. And if you get caught up in this net, there is no way out. So in Brahmajala Sutta, Blessed One says, I came to this world to help people who are practicing in this manner, not to get caught up in those wrong views. So I'm not going to do a huge analysis of it because we will take some time in the future. We will take Brahmajala Sutta and discuss. It is so, to some extent it is complex, some extent it is boring, to some extent it is so interesting, especially to a practicing person. Then only we can really understand what sort of a person the Buddha is. And you should not just read the discourse. When you practice and when you relate your practice to what Buddha says in that discourse, it's unimaginable. So what I wanted to say so far as Madu Pindika Sutta, this particular saying is concerned, he said, King Vadi Samano Kimak Paiti is the question he is asking, and I have not given the answer. I just wanted to give an introduction why this person, Dandapani, is asking in such a irresponsible, respectful manner from the Buddha. That is because of the rubbish that has been going on in India during those days. But we are really lucky to know what has been there and how Buddha is different from that, and what sort of way out he has given us. So we will see in the next session what Buddha says to Dandapani and what happens after that. So that is next week. So invite all of you to join us next week to practice and to the discourse, so that we will be able to dig a bit more deep into this honey ball and see what the honey ball has to offer. Blessings of the Triple Gem. May you all have a wonderful, mindful life. Did you all hear me?
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Everyone, sadhu. Okay, so anything to discuss? Any question? Yes, Ishan.
Terwan Saranai Bhante, a question on the practice of the mindfulness to the fore and the choiceless awareness. So, Bhante, when you're paying attention, I think you mentioned that you need to keep the mindfulness within the body. So, just to clarify. So now say you start meditating and initially you bring your attention to say to a body part which feels relevant, say let's say the nostril, and you feel the breathing there. So in that practice, if the when the mind, while you're being aware of the breath, you can see changes in the breath happening, and then if it goes to another body part, then you become aware of that part, and then you just keep your attention there, or do you bring it, does it automatically, you keep following it as long as it's within the body, to keep following it, or do you bring it back to the breath of that?
When I say the word I used was not within the body. The word I used was to keep the body as the focal point. So there is a clear distinction between that. What Buddha says is kayang panidaya. Kayang panidaya means keep the body as the focal point. Keep the body as your assembly ground. Keep the body as your controlling room. Right. So wherever you go, when a flight is taking off, or even not a flight, not even a flight, even a jet, even a rocket takes off, always it will have some communication with the controlling room. So it's like that. Our controlling room is the body, right? So it's initial state only what you are mentioning. So when you keep your attention to the breath, and you keep observing your breath, and then if it goes to another part of your body, say for example, you're observing the nostril, but your attention goes naturally to the chest, you observe there. And if your attention goes to the tummy, you observe there. And or it may be other way around. You are observing the tummy, and your attention comes to the chest. Attention may come to the nostril, or it may be you may see all the places, or you may completely lose all the places, but instead you may feel your legs. In that case, when that happens, it is not your breath, but it's a feeling. So, but still it is in the body, right? So in this manner, so long as you know whatever is happening in your body, you are naturally getting used to keeping your attention to the body, right? So then the question arises, what happens when you don't feel anything? And what happens when you don't, instead of feelings and instead of feeling the breath, what happens when you hear a sound? What happens when you smell something? What happens when you see something? What happens when you have thoughts? Right? So when those things are happening, especially thoughts, every thought will have some physical manifestation which we have never seen. So just a simple example. When we are angry, there will have some manifestations in our body. We will have faster breathing. We will be feeling our pulses more, and we may be feeling heat in the body. Things like that may appear. So when those things are appearing, you, on one hand, you know you are having hatred thoughts, you are having angry thoughts, and on the other hand, you have what is going on physically as well. So in that manner, you are having some communication with the controlling group. So that is the meaning of keeping the mindfulness to the fore, having the body as the focal point. Kayam panidaya means that. So did I answer your question, or did I confuse you more?
Understood, Bhante. Sorry.
Teruvan Saranai. Anybody else?
I was just gonna say a small comment on there.
Yeah.
You know, the last sutta you did, it was a lot different from many of the Dhamma talks you've ever done before. I don't know in what way, but I feel like it's just a general observation that even they say the same thing for Luguhanzo. Every time he comes back after a year, he's a different person. I felt for you, you're a different person when you did that sutta.
Sorry, I did not hear half the things because my internet was not very good.
Okay. So, you know, for Loku Hamdro, every time he comes here after 1 year,
Yeah.
people say that he's a different person and he has different
Yeah.
things to say and different views and, you know, this sort of
Yeah.
thing. I felt when after you did that sutta, you are a different person as well. It was a completely different way of that sutta and the approach and the practice and everything you said in it. So it was very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, whether we like it or not, every second we become different persons. Whether we are practicing or not, we are changing. So the person, for people who are practicing, the listener as well as the preacher, both are changing. You guys are practicing continuously, so you change. You understand what I am saying more than yesterday. And in my case also, I am able to express what I said yesterday in a better way today. So this evolution is happening in the entire spectrum. So it's not just I am changing, even the listeners are changing. Otherwise, you don't see the change. Otherwise, you'll say he said the same thing last time as well, and today also he's saying the same thing. So this is what we call bhavanamaya panya. If you stick to Suttamaya panya and Chintamaya panya, reading and listening, or reading and intellectualization, then there is some limit. But when it goes to Bhavanamaya panya, it keeps evolving. And the other thing, what I have noticed is, now earlier I need bit of a preparation and lengthy notes to give a talk. Now only few points I need. Someone was recently asked, are you preparing these points before you come? So, I mean, you just get connected. So keep it up. Good work. Teruvan Saranai. Anybody else? Or if not, yes, if there are no more questions, we will be able to transfer minutes. We have practiced for 1.5 hours and had listened to a talk and discuss few questions to refresh our memory and strengthen our practice. So these positive energies can be shared with all the living beings. Can I kindly request Chatu to recite the stanzas if you have?
May all devas share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all other beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all the beings share this merit which we have thus accumulated for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness and prosperity. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the dispensation. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect the teaching. May all beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, having shared this merit, long protect me and others. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Master, O Victor, greatly wise. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Dhamma, to be seen here and now, timeless. If by deed, speech, or thought, heedlessly I have done any wrong, forgive, O Sangha, practice well the incomparable. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. Let this merit accrue to our departed relatives, and may they be happy. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. By the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never follow the foolish, but only the wise, up to the time I attain Nibbana. Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Blessings to everyone. See you next time.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai.
Teruvan Saranai. Teruvan Saranai.